What's the best way to build trust when you run a dog against experienced competitors? Depends on who your audience is, but I presume you're saying, how do I build trust with my audience relative to my competitors? In that case, the way you build trust in relation to your audience is build familiarity. So familiarity builds trust. So the more times they see you, the more times they hear from you, do they like you? Do you relate to them? It's about, do they like me? So many, many years ago, Richard Branson told me something very important. He said, a good brand is a trusted brand, and it's about two things: notoriety, in other words, how many times has someone seen me, notoriety, and how well I'm liked. So trust is about me seeing you often in some format, some platform, and me liking what you got to say. Is rebranding and getting a new business name a good way to get your business out of the doldrums? That's an interesting question. It depends on your product and your service. I would like to know if your product and service, first and foremost, is well priced, properly priced, has the right features that the audience that you've chosen wants. Yeah, rebranding's okay, new business name's okay, but I'm more interested in how you define your audience, how you find that defined audience, and then how you feed them content that audience wants to see. And whatever name you put it in doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It might be a good idea to have a name that's relevant to that audience. That makes a lot of sense. And it might be a good idea, if you've got a bad brand, to rebrand, to launch a new brand, or if you've got an old, boring old brand, to launch a new brand. But at the end of the day, it's all about knowing your audience and how to feed content to them. At 52, how do you tackle or approach risk? Risk is an interesting question. At 52, the gravity of the event occurring is much greater. And what I mean by that is this: risk assessment is the multiplication of the probability of the event occurring, the thing that's going to go wrong, the probability of that. Is it 1 out of 10, or is it likely, unlikely, moderately likely, multiplied by the gravity of the risk occurring. In other words, if it occurs, how bad is it? What's the effect? As you get older, gravity becomes a bigger issue because you've got less time to recover, whether it's a physical gravity, like jumping out of an airplane in a parachute, or playing rugby league at 52. If you get an injury, it takes a lot longer to recover. So therefore, gravity is much more. So for me, at my age, I assess risk by the probability of event occurring multiplied by the gravity. And then once I understand that, I've got my head around that, I understand it completely, whether it comes to business or in a physical sense or a personal sense. When I get my head around those two factors and I work out the risk assessment number, then I just say, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway if I really wanted to do it. Okay, at the beginning of this year, I talked about having some good goals for 2023. By the way, it's not just 2023, it's for the rest of my life. Convincing in 2023. It's about getting my Greek to be a far higher quality, better quality, and also getting on top of my music ability, or relaunching my piano ability from where I left off many years ago. The piano is a little bit behind. I haven't really done anything, to be frank with you, on the piano side because I haven't had time. But in terms of my Greek, it's getting much, much better. And I have now a Greek teacher who I speak to, try to get there once a week, either by Zoom or in person. I haven't done it for a couple of weeks because I've just been too busy, but it's more conversational and it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying that. How do I structure my time? Yeah, I've got an EA. That's mainly because I've got 4 or 5 different businesses, so it'd be impossible and probably irresponsible for me not to have an EA to organize things. But from my own point of view, like I have ideas, I write everything down. So I usually just send myself a text and then I'll review my texts every couple of days. I get so hunkered down sometimes in relation to my business that I forget about what it is I was thinking about, say on a Saturday when I got inspired by something or motivated by something, or I read something or heard something that I thought I could apply to my own life, my business life, or just my general life. Then I write it down immediately. I might not go and do something about that for a week perhaps, but I'll always go back and check those things when I get a spare moment, having a cup of coffee, have my breakfast, reading the papers, whatever it happens to be. During the day, I try to put some time aside to review what it is I've written down. So yeah, I write everything down. If I see something that I think is important, I photo it and then I store the photo. I then go back and get the photo if I'm on a plane, or if I've got a spare moment, I send the photo to myself with a note. So it could be something I need to buy, something I need to put at my farm, for example, because I've got issues and things I've got to fix up there. It could be something I want to put in the Elaborate Grow business or the mentor business that I think is working for somebody else. It could be an idea about a home loan, a new home loan product, etc. So I photo everything. I always send a message to myself. Then I review that message and I see who within my organization that becomes relevant to, and then I forward that message to that particular staff member in my organization. Now, if you don't have staff members, like I'm lucky enough to have them, or I'm lucky enough to have too many sometimes, but you got to do it yourself. So you got to actually action something and do something about it. I have a microtetradio, like a small notebook, but I usually just write things in Greek in that. So that's my Greek notebook where I write my Greek notes about things in Greek. And it's a little Branson, green one. Other than that, I don't have a physical notebook. I make a point of having that physical notebook because it makes me write something in there which helps me remember something, and remember the Greek word and remember how to write in Greek. That's important to me. Other than that, if it's for business, for just lifestyle things, my notebook is my mobile phone or is my smart device, and it's done by text, and I text myself stuff all the time. And I never clear the text, so I can go back for months and months and months and see what I've written to myself, what notes I've written to myself and what they're about.